Hello everybody and welcome on the Aesthetic Software channel. My name is Erika and this is the last stream of the year. So I thought I'd commemorate by making everything festive. Last time we were doing this project here and I thought I'll go a little step further with it, but consider that this will be mostly a stream for chatting and for saying best wishes to other people, because after this stream, streams will be off for a while as we will work on a new format, and so there won't be any more streams after this one, but the newer one until we come with the new format. But I hope that the newer one will be just better and make it more enjoyable for all of you. So that's the plan. Yeah, I know, but it should be a good change and you should totally look forward to them, because we're working hard. We're working hard also on a lot of other resources that we're preparing in Spine. And of course, you'll be able to reach out to me on the forums and on the unofficial Discord. And of course, we'll also resume streams at some points, and I'm not going to spoil you anything, but rest assured that the wait will be worth it. But I'm just telling you that we need some time to prepare this surprise. So hi Zicomatic, hi you last to be me. Thanks for writing. No more waiting every Thursday to you stream. Yeah, I know, but it will come back, and it will come back better and mightier. It's just that, as said, we're working, we have lots of things on our plate, and we need also to spend these resources on creating different kinds of videos that would be nice, guides, we're preparing guides, and there's also the new release of Spine that is going to come very soon. We're prepared. So new year will bring a lot of amazing new things, and you should definitely look forward to that. As for what we were doing last time, yeah, I was doing this character in that was facing multiple directions and had different frames. I'll be rigging this while I talk with you, so feel free to interrupt me at any moment, alright? And regarding this, if I want, and I probably won't, finish this character on this stream, just mind that you can always download the files to try and go on with this. And I'm writing a guide about multiple directions characters, and I'll share that as soon as it's ready. We're at a good point, and so I won't abandon you. Also, there's the old streams about this project. I'm going to show it to you. Yeah, it was this one that uses a very similar approach to the one I was going to use here, except the one that I was doing now also had additional frames that changed, and it also had different skins, while in this case we only ended up having one skin in the end. Just going to show you what this was. This character was able to turn into different directions by reusing the same bones. They are correctly placed, etc. I was just going to show you again how this is done on a different kind of character that also had different frames and possibly some different problematics connected to this. We love when there's problems because we like solving problems. So going back to this one, what could I do on it? Actually, I was thinking I could give it some color because it's so white, and we could personalize the color of the parts. Yeah, and also it is the right time to also rig the leg, why not, so that we have something that is finished. I should also give it an eye. I forgot last time. it had its own eye, but I guess I exported it wrongly. That's not totally a problem though. Yeah, there's also should be more eyes besides this. Ah, I know the problem. I renamed this as eye instead of eyebrow. So I got the same image. Well, never mind, we can make it look like the Undertale mascot, the protagonist, I suppose. Oh, like this it looks sad, so maybe like this. How about that? Yeah. It's basically the eyebrow repeated. Let's make it a bit smaller. Or he looks like Brock from Pokemon. There. Let's make him happier too. Oh, so he looks more like Brock. It's temporary, we can replace the eye with whatever we want at any point. It's the beauty of working in setup mode and being able to replace anything at any time. But anyway, so instead I'll show you how you can personalize the colors of a character depending on the skin right now. Oh yeah, so are you on the latest beta? Because there's some interesting news. Besides the fact that we now have the type to filter, there's also, but I guess it's not implemented yet. But we were working on something that was highly requested, which is mesh white space streaming. But that's in progress, you can't use it just now. Or maybe I shouldn't have said that, I don't know. But I'm very excited about that. So, I have to select the skin first. Let's see. I could give different colors for each part depending on what symbol is selected, or depending on, for example, if they're wearing a calendar or something else. Hi Jellyfish! Hi Lemursh! How are you people? I hope you're having a great holiday time and that you're not overly stressed by the season or depressed because of the lack of light. That happens to me actually. Apparently one can get away with it with going out in the sun on the daytime. So just to explain what I'm doing, I've selected some of the attachments right now. Oh yeah, there's this fact. These attachments are universal to the skins, so they didn't have a skin placeholder. That's okay. We can create a skin placeholder at any time. We can create one. But the fringe already has one. So that's good. Maybe I'll start with the fringe. So we select this and we select also the back of the hair here. There. Now we can select both of them and change the color. And we can preview the change of color. Pink hair. I like that. That's for the hair though, so maybe I'll make him more snowish, like this. Then I can copy this color here and then apply it on the hair and back color here. Voila, now they all have this one. And if I change skin, this one didn't have a skin placeholder, so I can still create a new skin placeholder, and then it asks, do you want to have the same attachment in each skin? I'm going to say yes. This is a new thing, by the way. It's only present in the beta version of Spine for now, but it will save you a lot of time rigging. So we say okay, and now this is the calendar skin, so the guy should be blonde. So this definitely saves us a lot of time in adding parts. I'm going to recolor the fringe here in the back, And why do I have more than 2 parts to recolor? That's weird. Shouldn't be like that. And I make this, since it's the earth, I could make his hair brownish, for example. Seems to stay in character like this. So I like this color. I'm going to leave it as it is and say okay. What is this part? Fringe. Saturation. Oh, I guess I know what happened. I have to move this one in here. And now everything's alright. So that's the north direction. Very interesting. That's east, east, north, north, south. Cool, so we're going to select all of this and create skin placeholders for all of them. I'm surprised it didn't ask. Okay, they're empty though, that's bad. So I suppose we'll do it like this. Skin placeholder, duplicate attachment for each skin, yes. And now each skin will have this attachment inside, which is good. Now for the red fire color, we're going to make him, I don't know, we can have him blondish, fireish like this, or more on the red side, so it matches that red that he has there. Also, we can change the t-shirt color, as said. New skin placeholder, yes. I select this one. New skin placeholder again. Yes. New skin placeholder. There we go. So now in this skin, I want all 3 of these attachments. Of course, I want to reactivate this one to be colored. Oh, and there I noticed that the draw order is wrong. It should be not that dark. Could be this one. Reddish. I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess I'll select this grayish color and then copy and paste it here on the sleeves. New skin placeholder, duplicate, yes. New skin placeholder, duplicate, yeah. So as you can see, it's pretty easy. Did I paste the correct color? It's supposed to be yellow. Let's try again. I guess I got a wrong color. So we were in the red zone. I'm going to select a similar one. There we go. So this slot needs to be a bit more in the front. So I'm going to select the body slot and take it up. Also, I'm going to let you see what I'm pressing to get this up. Oops. Okay. I just press plus. And okay. You can also recolor the legs and the hips. I'm going to create a skin placeholder for this too, and a skin placeholder here, and for the legs. Oh wow, can't I just do it like this? It does it. No, it's more convenient to just do them one by one. new skin placeholders, right? Duplicate attachment. Do we want linked mesh? Yeah, do we want it to inherit the deformation to make the deformation inheritable? Yeah, we definitely want that. Okay, so I guess this works for us. So I'm going to say okay. Oh, but wait. There's a thing that we don't have to forget. And yeah, that's a dangerous thing. I'm going to create a new skin, which I'm going to call base or default. It's going to say that I can't use default, yeah. So I'm going to instead call this, yeah, base. So that if I create linked meshes, they are all go back to this base skin. This is a problem when you create characters, because it can happen that you spread out your source linked meshes across different skins. So when you try to delete a skin, or you delete it because maybe you have 30 skins and you don't need that many, then you're going to have problems inside Unity or other runtimes, because the source skin is not present and the other skins get turned into regular meshes if you do this in inside the editor. So I thought I'll concentrate the source message, the source meshes inside this default base skin instead, which should be better. So I'm going to create a new skin placeholder now, duplicate attachment, inherit the form, that's totally fine. I say okay. Great. So now I save, and oh, of course, I can also have different skins active at the same time. So if I go in skins panel here, I can activate base and then activate calendar on top of that. Oh, I guess I recolor, yes, everything is fine. So for example, I could have earth and calendar, so the two of them get mixed together, or fire instead of earth and calendar. And that's how you can add customization, recombine inside the editor for preview purposes. It's fine. So I guess the color of the pants is something that should be fixed for element type. So I will select the fire, I pin it so that it stays in here, and then I select the fire skin here, which equals to selecting it here, so that I can modify it. For example, you'll notice that I can't no longer select the calendar in this case. That's because it's not in the skin, it's absent from the fire skin. So it's basically as spine doesn't see it. But if I go and select calendar now, I can finally select the calendar, but I can't interact with some other parts that are missing. So I'll go back to fire, and I wanted to change the color of the pants. Let's see, this and this, oops, hips, and this, where was it? So small trick, I'm right clicking the tree. Oh yeah, of course, this is a great occasion to use leg, so I can select it. I also need to, text search filters. I didn't want to filter on slots though. I just wanted to have everything all selectable like this. And then text search filters, yeah, sure, fine. That's great. So here I have my left leg, and I'm going to select all of them legs. Weird. So if I remove this, yeah, that's the left leg. All right. What about this? Oh, there it was. Interesting. And I wanted to recolor, as said, this one. I'm just going to do it. I could have Pensberry red, like this, so that they all match this color here. Not sure. Do I want a different kind of red? No, I'm happy with this one. So I'm copying this, saying okay, and then I paste this coloring here. Fantastic. Now, also wanted to give, oh, well, we'll have time to fix all of them. There are quite a lot of them. Anyway, back here, I wanted to rig this leg and then duplicate it and place it on the opposite side. Also wanted to set the correct hips. There we go. So, in order to do that, I go here. Oh, what have I done? Ah, everything's alright. And I open the weights tool. Ah, it's already rigged. I forgot about that. So if we rig this, I thought we didn't. Yeah, it's already fine. My memory, I'm becoming old. And he's in this Zen style pose. Fantastic. So another thing that we could do is rig some more legs, but I suppose it is actually very convenient for us to just keep this boy with one leg until all the legs are rigged, so that I can simply flip them. So instead, I should consider to create an animation. So let's go to the animations. This empty animation is totally fine. Yeah, it's also the one I've been using to test things. So let's see. The correct thing to do would actually be to create a new turnaround animation, new animation. I'll call this animation turn around, and that's where we start to create the turnaround for this character, so that it can add multiple positions besides the one that it's stored in the setup pose. Like, if this is south, we're going to add southeast at this moment. So the thing that we're going to do is filter the tree on slots, solely on slots. No, it was on attachments, so that I can see the names. And then I have to search. I move to frame 1, and I go and activate southeast. So southeast, that's it. And I do this. Sorry. So I start seeing my guy from another perspective. Southeast, yeah, of course, that's the different legs. Right leg should be fine, and then we also have a left leg. Okay, and you see that the leg doesn't quite match like the other one, so I'll have to readapt the position of these bones. And in order to maintain this position, yeah, everything else is basically the same. Oh, I wanted to do a thing which is trying to import some reference images to use. Oh, it always opens like this. So I go in here, close this, because it's distracting. And I go on this. And then, for example, I can import this. I'm going to make a copy of it and go back. I should have made a shortcut for that. So I go to where is it? No, it's not desktop. I wanted to go on my volume E and then Twitch and then material and then elements, privacy, elements bar. Oh yeah, now I'm closer to where I should be. I go in images and I create a new folder called ref for references, and I'm going to paste this. See, every time I modify something in this folder, Spine updates it. So I can then go back to setup mode and import this image from the references. Oh, it's tiny. It's too tiny. I thought it was bigger. Well, then we can do it in another way. Although it's so tiny, it's so cute. I'll try to make it. I'll try to scale it up. Alright, I'm using this circle as a reference. If I switch to animate mode, okay, it's not tall enough. I have to match that. Hey, it's actually a better idea to just... Oh, it has a different calendar, by the way. Oh, the calendar matches. But the feet are supposed to be slightly shorter. Well, I just wanted to use this as a guide about how to place the various elements. Okay, this should be more correct. Yeah. So I select the reference. Of course, I also have to reparent this. Take it out of here. I can't because there's a filter. So I'm going, oh, it's already under the root. That's perfect. Then I'm going to lower the opacity of this so I can see through. I'll use it as a reference. Another option, instead, like in this case, I already had images. Another option to do the same thing is go to, not even import data. I could go in elements bar and then import the same JSON again, like this. Scale 1, disable new project, and import this one. I also have to rename this as 2 or ref. I'm going to call this reference. So I have the same images all over again. Can collapse this for a while, deactivate the skeleton, and then activate the images for this direction. Why I'm doing this? Because I'm going to ruin all of the positions of the bones in a bit. So I'll go like this. I'll just activate the filter on slots as I did earlier and activate all the southeast direction that I have. It's easier when one doesn't have multiple frames, of course. Okay, but that should be it. No, I'm still missing parts. All right. So now comes the part while I'm changing the draw order. Now, hips was fine. Of course, it looks a bit of a mess. So I'm going to disable the parts that really don't need to stay active, like this east direction. so that it's easier to see the other direction. Now this skeleton, I avoided exporting a lot of parts, so this is not really the most helpful reference. But when you will import a reference that has a complete set, this method works just like a charm. So deactivating with a right click the filter so that I can see everything again. I'll collapse this. I'll open Elements Boy. I'm deactivating this reference skeleton because I didn't actually need it. I'll go in animate mode, and that's where the breaking starts. So I want this position to be more centered around the foot here. Foot, it's like he's standing this way, right? So I'm going to correct that so that it matches this new position. So I'm changing the rotation here, for example. Here, this should be slightly more down, or like this. See? I'm disrupting the pose, basically. Next, these parts seem to match. I'm just going to move this slightly more down to match it better. This goes, it's fine where it is. Then this symbol, I should have placed a bomb for the symbol to be able to change its position on it. It's not that bad. And then it seems like these parts are fine for now, because I didn't create any bones yet for parts like the ear and the mouth, etc. But once I create them, I will have to readapt them to the new pose. So as said, we're concentrating now on rigging this new leg so that it matches the this new position and it can still bend. Right now we just destroyed this pose, but I go back in setup mode and then I reactivate specifically just that leg because it's the leg that interests us. So which was it? Southeast. That's the one. So I open views, preview view, I close the weights, I close the skin because I want to have them next to each other. And then I will need to raise a little bit the opacity here. It's a bit too transparent for me to see. Well, it seems to match. And here I was so sure I disrupted this position, which I did. But the fact is that this leg, yeah, it's under this right leg, so it's not that much of a problem. It didn't get moved from its place. That's great, actually, because this part here is actually all right. Yeah, it just got tilted a little bit, so I'm just going to make it straighter. I'm actually unsure about that. Yeah, that's how it should be. That's, I have to activate the animation turnaround, otherwise it's not going to work. And then, okay, so this is one animation, this is the other animation. Whoop. And give me a second. And I'm going to change here things that distracted me. So, did I move this? Yes. This is centered now like this, so I'll go back in setup mode. That's the turnaround animation. Am I in the turnaround animation? Yes. Does the Am I? Yes. It has a key. Perfect. Yeah, I had to hit the microphone. And it would be nice to have a blur feature to do some glows. That's something that you can achieve with the runtime, because offering runtime for this in editor so that it's in editor support for runtime for this, it's since the result can vary that much from runtime to runtime, I don't think we can add that like at the moment, although we are going to maybe implement some kind of motion blurs, but in the future. It's something that we added as an issue that we take into consideration, but I don't know when and if we'll actually make it. I'm in setup mode. I didn't want to move this. I have this active and I'm seeing no. Okay, that's what I see now the problem. So I'm just going to move this here so that it looks like that. So that now if I go and play the turnaround animation, yeah, it's now better. But instead I wanted this bone to be more centered. So for this, I'm going to remove the translation. Well, for this one, I wanted to have it straighter like this. So I go back to setup mode. Oh, now I see it offset as I thought it would be. So now my job is, I move this, but I look here actually, and I realign these parts like this so that they are sent. Did I move the bone? That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to move the image. So I do this, and now it's correct. And save. That would be awesome. I know. So we want to make this image something that we can rig for this new pose while it's not in this pose. So I'll create a mesh now. I'll go mesh, edit mesh, and new mesh. And I'm going to create a straight mesh here. What did you want to do, by the way, with the blur? I'm curious. Maybe it's an effect that we can do in some other ways besides the one that you're considering at the moment. Sometimes even just talking about this can spur new ideas about different ways to do the same thing. Alright, so I'm creating middle sections here. Or maybe I want to make them distanced better. I don't want to add more parts. Okay. I want this to be able to bend a little bit nicely. So here are some close meshes. Well, this doesn't interest me that much. Then I close here, and here comes a tricky part, an interesting challenge. So I go and yeah, that's the mesh, that's everything is correct. I can close for a moment here, and I open the weights panel. So in the weights panel, I'm going to bind these same bones that I had here, plus a bone that I know doesn't move, such as the, no, not the reference, or the reference is fine. It's not going to hurt anyway. So I go back to animate mode, and I make sure that all of the weights here are weighted on the reference so that it basically forces this to stay in place. Now that's a bit tilted. Yeah. So since it's like this, and this clearly needs to be moved away, because the reference is not going to make this image move, and we adjust the position of the image because it's if an image doesn't move, it makes totally sense to do that. But with meshes, we can actually do it. Okay, so this was like this. I used to do things with blur in After Effects for glow effects, and it was an idea that came to me. But I guess it's better to solve the blur in Photoshop and apply it in Spine. Oh, you mean like where the whole character is blurred in some ways? So, as said, this was supposed to behave in a certain way. We can totally... What's the reference bone? It's not the root bone. Root? Reference, okay. It's a bone that doesn't move, so that's very good. I'm thinking... Oh, it means, yeah, that I don't need to move this here, so it can stay here. Yes. Okay, so the trick works like this. I'm pressing update bindings just to be sure. I'm in animate mode and I moved all of the weights here on the reference. Now the fact is that if I change the weights to match the ones on the leg here, since I moved it, you'll see the mesh move, right? And we don't want that. So that's where, after we have the bones in the new placing, we change the influence 100% on a bone that doesn't move, so that the mesh was untouched, and we're on this frame. Yeah. What we want is we press update bindings now, so that this new position of the bones attached to it is stored. And now if I move, let's do it like I did earlier, the weights like this, you see that they don't move anymore. I figure I didn't explain it as clearly as I could, so let me briefly rig this again. Okay, but I don't actually want to move this or it's going to be a disaster. I'm going to move on frame 5 and stress test it. Okay, like this. And then I change the weights and I can work on getting them nice. Okay, so there's this. Here I want a bit of smoothing. Here a little bit of smoothing too, can't hurt. There we go. There's just this part that doesn't look too great when it's bent like this. Let's see. To improve this, the better way, the best way to avoid this problem is actually to remove a weight. Either we do it like this and we get a noodly leg, so it's move it this way, you see, and then it's able to bend in a better way, or we do it like this, edit mesh, and we remove this point that we had here in the middle, so that we also remove the problem. Fantastic. Hi Trini! You have something like that? I see. Now, blurs would be also heavier runtime to calculate in a game engine, because we mean that you apply an effect on top of your assets. So there's also that to consider. When we'll basically run computers instead of phones, and we're almost at that point, it's probably possible that we'll have that. But for now we have limitations, and that's fine too. So let's say I like this leg. Let's try to rig a leg that it's a bit more different for the sake of letting you understand this. So I'm saving. I'm going to change this to a leg that will show better what I mean. Yeah, like this, that it's very bent, or this one. Yeah, this one is good actually. These ones overall are very nice to display what I mean. So I want to go with the bent one first, this, and show you again how update bindings works. How are you, Trini, by the way? What is that? Ah, it's a skeleton. Okay. So I'm here, I have this bent leg, northeast direction, leg 2, that it's one of the frames that I want to add to my collection. Yeah, that's northeast. It means that I also have a southeast leg that's exactly the same, yes. So I'm going to do southeast, and in this case too, southeast isn't very aligned with the bone that we have currently. It's probably because it should be moving in a different position. Like, let's create a new animation to test this sequence of frames out. So we have, ignoring the body, of course, I'm going to deactivate the reference for now. So we have this leg first. Then we have on frame 2, I want to select leg, okay. We have leg 2, and then we have leg 3 that it's like this, and then it goes back to leg 1. Yeah, let's place some distance in here so that the human eye can see. So we have this, right? And it's cool because some of these meshes, yeah, we could probably reach them out and make them in spine. Why did I tilt it this way? Ah, of course, because in this original image, this bone is tilted this way. But in this image that I rigged, this bone is tilted on the opposite side. So that's another thing that we have to consider. So let's make this frame by frame animation a bit smoother. How about that? That's going to be interesting. Let's say you prepared some frames and you want to create the interpolations. So first we have the problem with the fact that these bones here aren't absolutely moving and are absolutely matching this mesh. So we're going to first create the meshes for these frames right now. And then we're going to rig these meshes so that they match these bones here. It also makes it easier for us if we do it now, because we won't see the meshes do weird stuff. So first, mesh, edit mesh, new mesh. And we start creating some points. Boing. Yeah. Straight leg here, don't care. There we go. Another one. And that could be it. Yeah, we can also modify them later, but for reference, it's going to be like this. So let's also create a mesh for the second leg here that it's clearly different from the first one. New mesh. We start from here, for example, we trace a nice straight line, and we enclose this in here. Still create this here. Boom, done. So then I maybe add this. Also want this part to bend a bit nicely, so I'm creating some intersections here. Fantastic, that's our mesh. Yeah, I can leave it like this probably. Now that's a risky thing to do. Should go like this. Yes. Actually, this part should be straight. But because of this point, it's hard to make it straight. Because there should be a triangle when you're rigging shoes, so that this part stays flat and doesn't do weird stuff. And then this part should do that too. More like this. Whatever. So let's say this mesh, because we can always modify it later, so it doesn't matter if it's not perfect at the moment. We have 3 meshes. We already rigged one, and we're going to readapt the bones here to match the new mesh. Now, a thing that we can do is already binding these 2 meshes to a bone that we said it's not moving, like the root, totally fine, so that we can move the bones without affecting this mesh. Bind, we bind it here, reference, whatever. We're going to remove it in the end anyway. And okay, right leg, perfect. So we go back in animate mode. Interesting. I must have changed that with the 3rd one, so it should be like this. Now what have I done? And it's probably like this. Yeah, this, and then it should be the 3rd one. I need to get this straight now, because later it's going to be a problem. I want to space them out evenly too, possibly. Now how do I do that? Let's say at 5:15 is the other one, at 10 is this one, so that it's slow paced and we have all the time in the world to appreciate this moving. So if that's the case, yeah, that makes it easier for us. This bone here should already be fine, and we should already be able to bend this. Yeah, it's not the most gracious thing, but it works. So then it goes here, and when it goes here, we want to match the position of these bones with that, and then it's like this. So on frame 10, I'm going to readapt the position of these legs so that they match this new position here. So I'm going to bend this on the opposite way so that it matches the leg nicely. I want this to be here. I want this to be, oops, let's compensate bones, where I imagine this leg should bend. Doesn't matter if we're leaving a bit of space, unless we are going to use IK constraints, in which case it would matter. But in spine we also have a new kind of constraints. Now let's have a brief look at that. If we were to create a an IK constraints, we can create one that stretches, which would make rigging to this bone very convenient. To this bone here. Although I think we can live without that for now. I suppose. Ah, tricky questions. No, it's not a question, but it's tricky problems, and that's fantastic. So as said, let's, for fun, start creating an IK constraint. IK constraint, and then I select, I want to make it nicely. So first I select a bone, new bone, and it created a bone there. But actually I didn't want it there, I wanted it at the tip of this bone. So instead of having work position, I'm setting it to parent axis, and now create a bone. And it's on the tip of this last bone, which is perfect. So since it's like this, I can reparent this bone that I created to the container. I didn't create a container, right? So to the root, and then I go in animate mode, and yeah, it stays there without a care in the word. So I can select this two, new IK constraint, and select this and call it right leg, like this. And it's working, and it stays exactly in place because this was placed at the tip of this bone, which is perfect. And then I activate stretch, all right, so that when I go in animate mode, yeah, here I did a mess because I changed the translation, but if I do this, you can see that the bones stretch and try very hard to match this position here. So where was this placed? It was here, which means, yeah, that I should try to match this to this triangle here. Hi Fabiano, how are you? This is the last stream of the year, you know? As I said before, we are working on a new format for the streams, so this will also be the last stream for a while. Streams will come back, but until we get with a new format, there won't be any more streams programmed for the new year until we announce it. Just for everybody that might have connected only now, stating it clear. So I also want to parent this to this IK here because it's more convenient. So that then I place this here where I need it. I also rotate it to match my needs. I want it here, for example. And then here on frame 5, I needed to bend like this. But at the beginning of this animation, even though the bending is on the opposite side, I want it to be not positive, so that when it bends how I need it to bend. So more like this. So the fact is that when the bones are of a certain length, they are not going to become smaller. But if they become longer, they stretch automatically. And that's okay for now. So I'm going back. Like for example, if I'm not very satisfied with this position, I can always do it like this, so that this part becomes automatically shorter. But actually, I still need to, no bones compensation. I need to change the position of this to be more in the middle, and at this point, I can decide to move this a little bit more up here, so that it's the correct length for what I need. See? And then when it's here, it does this. So we need to, I'm also keying translation here, and here translation is not that important. I'm going to copy and paste this here so that it's correct again. Oh, fantastic. And then it will come back to be like on frame 0. So I copy this and paste it here. So if we look at this animation, it's not the most beautiful animation ever. What was the rotate for? Something that is unused. Yeah, we could definitely adjust the pace of this. If I deactivate the images, it makes it clearer what's happening in here. Also, there's this, so that it's moving less in a hiccup way. I'm going to read the chat room. Well, interesting. You're going to collab with someone together in life? Maybe. Hey Fabiano, welcome, says Trini using a Pikachu. Maybe, I can't say anything, but look forward to that. We are going to miss the streams a little bit, but it's going to be for a good cause, so worry not. Okay, so we have this, and then I should, yeah, instead of leaving that here, I should actually copy this and paste it here, and that, oh, finally it looks more decent. Now setting aside the fact that this isn't the most beautiful movement for a leg ever, I want to demonstrate, yeah, it's going to be a bit wobbly. Ah, that's why. Copy. No, that's not why. Copy and paste. Wonder if that is going to help. Well, for sure, a little bit. There's interpolation, that's good. And then I also wanted to make sure that this had the correct position, so rotate, I'm setting the rotation like this, I'm translating it here. Oh, so it's doing this. And you see that we have a bit of interpolation that changes frame here to match the new frame, so that it has a better leg. Okay, could go here and adjust the weights until they look nice enough. And that's super convenient. Okay. Oh, let me see this leg. And then we see it doing this. Now, so I created some keyframes for the preview of the leg movement, and now let's read this leg from the old position. I'm going to use the mysterious update bindings again for you that just connected now, which is a very useful tool. It's a pity if you don't know yet. I really hope you're going to do that to see different point of views on the same work, and I feel for the perspective walk you're into. Oh, don't worry, we are figuring it out. As said, we have three very useful frames, similar, and we just first we created the meshes. Now we adjusted the bones, and we're going to make the bones work in this new position. It's going to be very easy. So the next step is to select this frame and we bind it to these bones here. Now, if everything went well, the weights are going to stay the same, because you see that if we had weights at 100% on these parts, I'm going to show it to you anyway, the leg, there's no way the leg is going to match this one, right? So we go on this here and we bind the bones again, here, here, and here. Fantastic. And then this one, we can also add this bone that we have here. Now, we are in this position on this first frame. We press update binding so that this position is the newly considered one as the setup position for these bones, which means that if I select this and change, yeah, that's exactly what I had in mind. That's because I didn't move this bone here. I'm going to move it with everything else so that it matches the other bones there. Okay, So this should make it more correct. Of course, we need some fine-tuning here because it's looking, it could look better. So for example, we can adjust these weights here to be a bit more smoother so that they look a little bit more like the other frame that we created there, right? And here we certainly don't need this tip of the how would you call it, tip of the foot to be this bad. We can also adjust it like this if we want. Okay, see? So it doesn't matter if then one mesh is different from the other. Can still adjust them. All right. Wonder now. I like that. Looking good so far. So let's make this one more similar to that other frame. I guess by raising this one here. Don't need that many weights. Cool. So see, we have sort of a transition from one into the other. Looking nice so far. And now the tricky part. So remember what I said about this change of frame. The fact is that if I try in setup mode, yeah, that's how it looks like. That's fine. It's totally fine. It's correct that it looks like this because this bone is turned. Like in setup mode here we see it like this. And if we change the weights, for example, for this leg down here, what we see is this, and there's no way to make it match, right? That's probably a problem that you could have had in the past. So let's go back, and since we're on this frame 5, and we have all the bones matching, and we would like these bones to be the setup pose of this mesh, that's where we click Update Bindings. Done, we don't need to do anything else. If we change the weights now, they stay in place. And when we go back, you see, the mesh is readapting. Now, if I'm going to raise the influence of this for the tip of the foot, when I go back here, it's wrecked, but that's all good, that's fine. So it's how it should be. And there's no way you would have done this in setup mode. Okay. So I also need to change the weights for this so that they don't depend anymore on reference, but they are completely influenced by this instead. All right, until they meet this. Okay, this is not what I want. This, I suppose that's the best thing we can reach for now. Yeah, it's kind of skinny in this position. It gets... I suppose I'd want to change the skin a bit, this version of the leg like on frame 7 or this frame here instead, so that it doesn't get too skinny, you know? That's the beauty of using different frames. Anyway, so we're going to do the same for this as well. I'm going to demonstrate it again. In setup mode, we are going to have this leg looking like this, which means that if we change the weights now, like this, they're going to go outside of the bone like they are here in setup mode. So instead we go back, press Ctrl Z, so that they are matching, thanks to the bone that doesn't influence actually, that we didn't move at all, so that the mesh is perfect as it is. Then we press Update Bindings, like this, and at this point we can change the influence of the bones here, so that they stay in place. Basically having bonus setup poses during animations. As long as it's stored, it's there forever. There, great. So now I'm going to change the influence of this. Fantastic. So you see that now everything transitions. If I am to play here, it's even hard to see that there's a frame change. Like you can notice here, because it wasn't very precise at the time in making the same. Oh wow, that's ugly. So then we can just navigate, scrub through the through the animation here and adjust it until it looks like we wish it to look. Like I said that I wanted this earlier, so I'm just going to do that. There. And you see it looks totally like here it's raising it and here it stomps on the ground. Or something similar. Something of that sort. Here it has basically no influence. Oh, nice. So when you have multiple frames and you would like to rig all these frames to the same bone, I know of people that would have created multiple bones for each pose, and to those people, finally you don't need to do this anymore because there's update bindings and it's your best friend. You can rig these different poses and have them one after the other. We are replacing the attachment at the frames, and that's the result. And I think it's beautiful and useful. Okay, so we got this to work. Next, I'm going to drink because my throat is dry from talking this much, and I'm opening a new orange juice because I didn't do lately, and I don't know, I've been drinking tea all the time, and whenever I'm doing streams the tea becomes cold after a while, so I decided to drink orange juice instead. So what do you think about update bindings? Did you understand that it could work like that? Or is this a new workflow for you? Like if you watched some streams in the past, I already displayed this, but I think that this leg now is what makes it shine, because you can clearly see it in action, but that's my opinion. I'm curious about yours. All right. So, it's hot in this head. Yeah, orange juice. Hi, it works. How are you? Did you know about the update bindings function? Probably yes, because you're awesome. I know that you know a lot of stuff. By the way, people, if you don't know him, he also uses spine during streams, and it's also showing how to implement spine animations in Unity. So go follow him. I needed definitely a drink. And here we are. So let's use update bindings a bit more to clear any doubts. We have lots of legs here, and we can do more. We're going to do more. I'm fine, last stream of the year. Yeah, it's going to be the last, not only of the year, but also for a while, because we are planning on some very new and exciting ways of doing streams, but for that we'll need time, so don't expect streams until we are going to deliver news, since we'll be working on a new format for streams. All right, look forward to it. As I said already, we have lots on the plate. We're preparing guides, we're preparing a new spine release that it's close in the new year. You'll have lots of new things. Also, the streams were actually an experiment, but you'll see. There's lots that is added, being added, and will add to spine. Can't say anything more, unfortunately, but look forward to it. Alright, so you saw this enough. For the pleasure of it, I'm going to let you see this change, maybe at a slower pace. how these different images are combined. And that's almost automatic. Let's select some more legs to rig. Let's see. So I'm going to create a new animation for this, just to avoid wrecking this one. I'm going to call it walk like this for now, and save. See, whenever it's not in the position we established, it's going to look ruined, but we don't care because we're only going to use these keyframes in that specific position. So don't worry if your meshes look broken in any other pose. That's completely fine and completely normal. Can't wait to see it. Okay, I should use that myself, update bindings. Yeah, this opens lots of possibilities, especially if you want to do some very different poses by using the same bones of the skeleton. Beast mesh deforming. No mesh deforming, no direct mesh deformation. Remember, direct mesh deformation is bad. Using bones to deform meshes, that's superior, and that's what you want to use. I just did the Drake meme, I guess. So let's select something else. I remember, yeah, we had some very interesting new position for the leg here. Yeah, I can do this south walk. Let's do it. So we have this first leg, this red leg, it's fine. And then let's prepare the frames. So we have first frame, yes, but second frame or whatever. Then we have this, then we have this one, and then we have this last one here. Let's test. And that's how it looks. So imagine, yeah, I'm going to open it. Where was the, I saved a GIF. Let me fetch the GIF. I'll go here. So I'm going to let you see how this all looked before. Okay. It's opening. It's taking its time. Do I have something that I'm not? No, everything's fine. Just give Firefox the time to open. Okay, there's this. So this was the original walking animation, because for those of you that weren't here last stream, we had this. I did this animation like 3 or 4 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago, I don't remember anymore even. And in this animation, you can see that our guys are moving. Oh, the one we just did now was this one, and you can see that it's a frame by frame animation. It works, but it was a ton of work to implement, and if we wanted this to be more fluid, we couldn't have done this. I did this in Photoshop at the time, and it took me months. Anyway, since we have all these frames, we could as well implement them. So we have this one here. What is this? I don't want this to be active. I really don't want this to be active. Deactivate. Yes. And now let's look at this. It's probably supposed to be a bit faster. So let's bring these frames together. I guess I thought it. I also need to get back the speed to 100%. Okay, so I'm going to get the same distance of the frames as before. Also, this flickering is giving me seizures, so I'm going to turn the leg back to white for now, just for the sake of sanity. Where was it? It was this one. Beautiful color red, but now we're going to change it to white for rigging purposes. Then we're going to switch it to wherever we need. So it looks like this. Are these the correct frames, by the way? Let me check. Let me check with the GIF. Yeah, it becomes smaller and smaller until it tilts. So it does this, then it's smaller, then it becomes like this. I guess I repeated, no, I don't remember. Ah, that's straight, and then it's again on the ground. Yeah. Oh, okay, I see the problem. So I have to do this and then paste it here so that you can appreciate the last frame. Oh, now it looks a bit more like something that makes sense to me. Fantastic. So we have this and we want to read it. And I'm going to have to change and transform these parts because they clearly don't match. So as much as maybe this and this, yeah, of course these two are similar. This is very similar, it's basically a stretch version of this one, so I could maybe get rid of it at some point. It's not that necessary to have. Well, anyway, the next step after adding all these frames is to readapt the bones to match the position of these frames. So to do that, we are going to turn these frames into meshes and yeah, create meshes for all of them. So let's start with the first one. That's my mesh. New mesh, edit mesh, and new. Ah, by the way, people, as said, you can interrupt me, you can ask questions. This is the last stream, so feel free to talk about whatever you want, holidays, anything. It's going to be more chit chat, okay? And for those of you deeply interested in this kind of workflow, we are going to release a proper guide about multi-pose character rigging, so that everything will be laid out nicely and there won't be any more confusion, all right? So we're thinking about users. So I'm a big fan of lists, so I felt the need to state out the process nicely for future reference. I like following instructions that are clear and concise. So when I release this, feedback will be greatly appreciated as well. Yeah, making the mesh, but I guess I'll add one point here. I actually want it to be this way. Yeah, I like this. I'm worried about this triangle here, that it's probably going to look bad, so I'm going to change it. It's even worse. I'm not sure anymore. But how about that? I'm going to force it this way so that it has to behave. Actually, if they are so close, I don't need that. Okay, and this should be enough. Can always modify this by making this part straight. Well, let's see how it goes. I'm not sure this is the perfect way to do this one. I'm going to add a middle, some middle lines for the bending of this part. That should be it. So then I bind this. As said, I'm going to bind this just to a bone that I know that it's not moving like this reference bone. And I'm going to leave it as it is so that all the vertices get 100% weight on reference. Then, well, I could have done it all in one go, but it's just because I'm lazy. I'm going to do it like this. I'm adding also the other bones that were supposed to be in here. Then, oh, for a moment I got scared. I left. I have inks here, and I thought I left one ink open because of a reflection. Or maybe you can see better this one, which is lighter. Well, anyway, back to this. Sorry, I have a problem and I get distracted. Anyway, I'm turning this one too into a mesh, and I'm just Now I'm going to create a new one. Here, here, here. Well, this is like, it looks like he's a veteran of war more than the guy. Could maybe add 1 point here, and that will be it. I'm not expecting too much from this. There should be also the compress option now that I think about it. Here on the I key, let me check. We have stretch, yeah, compress is present, but only for I keys that only have 1 bone in the I key, so not for these ones. Well, anyway, back to this. I created this other mesh. I'm going to create this other mesh again. Edit mesh, new mesh. This is basically a giant noodle. I don't know how else to define this thing. Oh, well. I'm placing the points close to places that if deformed in the drawing you'd notice them. But I also want them to be here where I imagine the knee will be as well. Okay. And maybe here to control the foot. Better to leave the doubt sometimes. Oh, I'm lost. About what? Did I say something? Oh no, I don't know. Anyway, new mesh. About the yeah, I suppose. It looks like overcooked spaghetti. It's a bit disgusting. Anyway, so here I'm doing the last mesh. I've added 1 tiny triangle there. Here I'm going to make a line. Boom. No, almost. I want this to be straight, so I'm going to correct them at some point. Now I'm going to modify them so that they look nice, straight, like they have their life in order and everything. Yeah. Here, all right. And then we're ready. So I'm going to create this 1 point here. Could have, okay, remove that one. Here I envision problems with this one. Okay. And now let's, what? Did I change it? No. Or yes. No, everything's alright. So let's bind it to the reference. And then we're also going to bind it to the other bones here. And now we're ready for the next step. So we have these, there are meshes. And as we did on the other direction, we're going to do it here. So I select this first mesh and I have to readapt first the bones to match this new mesh. And then I'll change the weights after pressing update bindings though. So here I go. I'm on frame 3 and I need this to match. And we have a problem. So I'm going to move this on the parent axis so that looks a bit smaller and less problematic. Oh, yeah, but there's also this fact. Since the guy is walking, I can actually also move this up. I forgot about that. So let's say that this is the peak. Yeah, let's take it up. I'll remove this key here. Also need to create a key at the beginning, otherwise we won't see any translation and that would be bad. So, copy, paste. It's not pasting. Okay, it pasted. So it's doing this. This is good. And it goes up and it goes down. Okay, That's cool, that's what I want. But more than anything, I want it to be more in the middle maybe. Or there because of the position of this frame. Slightly more up. It's moving with this, that's bad. If it's moving, it means that I didn't add, okay. So since it's moving, I noticed that I didn't, okay, this has its binding. This doesn't have it. So I need to bind these bones too. And reference. Now, and we can see that if I leave it like this, they're all on the right leg. I want them to be all on the root so that they don't move if I move a bone. The fact that they move if I move a bone, it's bad in this stage. Later, it's fine because it's what we will want. So back here. Yeah, it's now doing better what I asked. Also need to translate this up. Okay, I wanted to match this. Yeah. So it's in the middle of this. Fantastic. So next I go on this second frame and I make sure that this is centered. I want this to be here. I want this to be here. And it's meh. This would make it look better. So my way of cheating is, instead of using scale that could cause me problems, I decided to translate these bones here, which is far more easier for me. Then I want to also get these bones in the right position. Okay, this was fine. I'm going to key the translation of this at the beginning and at the end, as well as the rotation, because I'm sure that it will change. Okay, so for example, on frame 3, when this changes, the rotation is more like this, and it should go more here. Fantastic. Then on frame 6, his foot disappears. Could actually live without it. Then it kind of reappears. Oops. Kind of reappears, but down here. And we can rotate this to control just the tip of the foot. We can have this control to suddenly have a different function. The only problem is that when we change mesh, it will look bad. So it's actually better to be consistent, but just know that if you want, you can really reuse bones to a huge degree. So there's a lot of flexibility. There we are. So let's, yeah, it's looking like this. It's probably because I'm missing here, yeah, as expected, the translate keys. I need to finish adapt. I didn't. Okay, translate key, copy and paste here. Okay, and then this one here, for example, needs to be, that's cool, it should be here, for example, and then it goes down, and when it goes down like that, I want it to be here instead. At that point, I want this bone to translate back to normal. So I want to copy and paste this translation, copy, paste, so that it's 100% back to normal. Now I want to also copy and paste this translation, copy, and where was it? Here, paste. Oh, it didn't paste. Copy, paste. Fantastic. Oh, now it looks smoother. And that's a part where we start making everything smoother overall. So here we are going to use update bindings for the various frames. If you weren't paying attention, this is like the 6th time that I'm doing it. For those of you that just tuned in, this is the right moment to understand this. And I think this is a very important part. So, as said, if we were to change the weights now, well, let's do it just for fun. They're going to look, yeah, this is going to look like this. Let's do it here. This is going to look suddenly compressed, while this part here is going to be super stretched, like that, all right? No good. So we go back to when we had this only influence here, and that's where we are on frame 3. We have all the other bones rigged together with it, and we press update bindings. Now this pose that we have on frame 3 is a new setup pose for this mesh, which means that if I change the weights now, they are going to stay perfectly in place. And I love this. And it's the core feature that allows us to have multiple skeletons with different images inside in very different poses, without suffering all the pain in the world to get them in spine. Let's change this. Fantastic. So we can admire this transition here. It's doing this. Yeah. So since it's doing this, I'll have to consider taking this to a different place. I'm going to translate this here and then rotate it like this. Why is it that far? That's weird. Because I changed the position of some, and I didn't use compensate, of some of this. So let's reposition it. Whoops. Fantastic. And it goes back here. I just changed it. Why did it come back to where it was? It's trolling me. Wow, for some reason it didn't key. And it didn't key here either. Weird. Okay. But now everything is fine. I guess I'm going to change this. Maybe I'm going to adjust this bone here so that it doesn't look that awful. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I'm actually thinking of anticipating the change of frame here because it would be prettier. But first, let's rig the other poses as well, and then we fix everything. So here we are. This is totally fine. We press update bindings as we did earlier, and then we change the weights. So I go to weights, I select this, and I change the weight. Also, here you can see the reason why it's good to use as the least possible number of vertices and of bones, so you have less of a headache doing this. Okay, I'm not even rigging that foot because it's not present. It doesn't matter for us. Should have done this from the start. Anyway, so here is another mesh where I should do update bindings. Then okay. Oh, please let me select. Okay. There I select this leg. This down leg here. I definitely regret having moved this, tilted it in a strange position. So I'm going to keep it as it is and not rotate it that much. Instead, when I go here, I'm going to place it something here. So that it gives a better transition. Oh, magnificent. Now, let's do the same update bindings trick here too, so that we can change these weights. And you see how easy it is to apply different corrections when I see that something doesn't quite work as I wish it worked. Now I'm selecting the tip here. And there we go. Oh, maybe I want to add a little bit more influence here too. Ah, nice transition from one state to the other. Okay, and now it's the time for a little bit of fixes. It looks weird because we just have one leg and everything else is not moving as much. Okay, so I said I wanted to anticipate this frame turning. I'll anticipate it here because I want to see how this reacts. Okay, so for example, I'm going to change the tip here. I can even change this to be a bit more straight so that it resembles that part more. See? Then it becomes this giant noodle. Maybe from the giant noodle part, I can get the foot to appear to be hiding a little bit more. Let's try to do that. Could even scale this part. And then I restore it afterwards. And then we have this transition where it comes. Okay, this part, I think this part definitely needs to have this bones influence. That's bad. So this bone starts being there from here. And since it's like this part is translating, I can do this. After this, it comes here. So this part can be on the tip like this. There we go. So it does this, and when it's here, I'm pressing update bindings so that they take into consideration this position. Hi puppy! Puppy, 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 how are you? I saw the beautiful picture that you posted on the unofficial Discord with your doggies, and I'm in love. I'm going to steal your dogs, so be prepared. And you, together. And the tree, because I like the tree too. Okay, so I'm changing these weights. By the way, puppy, we were doing some update bindings on these different frames for the leg walking. Now that's a bit more intense. Here the leg hides behind. I figured that if that's the case, this curve should be maybe more down to match with this. But anyway, we got some pretty results. Oh, this could go a little bit more down too. A pretty and interesting results with the other walk in the other direction, where basically you could hardly tell that we were changing frames. So this needs a little bit of work. Also, it's complicated pose, the frontal walk. Sounds like a good Christmas heist. I'll let you see this one. So here we have, I'll let you see slower. It's various meshes that we rigged, which is this, a straight one, this, a banded one, or a bent one, a different kind of, a straight leg at this point, and here it's slightly bent, and here another one. I'm sorry, I'm getting a call. I'll answer and be right back. I love old people because they call to, apparently my grandmother just won the one of the local places to to grow vegetables. I don't know how it's called. It's a small, it's not a farm, it's just a piece of ground where you can plant things. Usually they remember I'm busy on Thursday, but they couldn't wait. And that's so sweet. Well, it's the holidays, so okay, my microphone is active. So how are you, by the way? What are you going to do for these holidays? Except, of course, trying update bindings at some point. I like how this turned out. It's very smooth. And then, oh, what? Did I just change? No, I saw something ugly for a moment and I got worried. Ah, it was this one. Yeah. So as said, now here we are just going to fix this so that it looks more nice. And then it will be done. Like this part is tricky because we're making this fruit completely disappear. So I'm receiving Slack notifications. I'll look into them later. Okay, so the food is there and then the food disappears. And then the food becomes this mysterious noodle. And then there's this that it's even weirder because it's there and then it's... But about that, we can do much. I could probably... but here it's problematic. Could try to make this noodle resemble more. I figured that happened. Now, okay. So when we realize that we placed a bone in a not so perfect position, we can still correct it, and that's very good. So instead of having this thing here, I can move it to a better place so that it matches better, as I did earlier actually. So I'm going to first have to remove... I didn't actually... Interesting. So I'll have to remove the influence of this bone here from there. And then I'm going to correct the position and correct also the press update bindings again so that the new position of the bones will be stored, and then I can replace it where I want. So I'm going to turn it like this. Yeah, so that it will match more or less this one here. It will do this movement, which I like. So since this is fine for me, I'm going to press update bindings now. Okay. And then I'm going to change the weights so that this part matches, this too, and it's easier to see the result. For example, I change here. Yeah, so that it gets more similar to that. Of course, there's a limit to how similar it can become. But anyway, we're creating smooth interpolations in this case, and let's say it, these drawings were old, and when poses are very different, it's okay to have them a bit snapping. But we definitely saw some possible outcomes of what could happen inside your workflow too. I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure I like it that much. Okay. I was perplexed. I wasn't seeing anymore the part where he doesn't have a leg, and I was like, whoa, did I delete that part? And no, it's just an optical illusion. It's like I'm not seeing the foot anymore. But I fear that this part here where it flickers, I'm not that very much fond of it. So here is good, but here when it reappears, maybe I could make this frame appear later, like just here, so that it stays longer like that. And then maybe just here it changes, but I'll have to remember which frame was the original one. Yeah, so it still flickers, and it's only natural that it flickers because this part completely disappears, but then when it reappears, that's the part that disturbs me a bit. That's the only problem. So let's reactivate bones. See, can I do something about this? Could probably make this a bit shorter. And when it's down here, oh, I shouldn't. So if I like this one, I'm going to key the translation. So for this part, no, I got it wrong. Okay. And here a bit higher. I wonder. It flickers a bit more, but it's at least that part of the leg that was disturbing me that much is less visible. So that's an option, a workflow. With better images, this result would turn out for surely better. Oh, sorry for not seeing the chat room. Now I'm going to read it. I'm going to be baking and decorating a Christmas cake. I've got the shopping to finish, as well as a project I need to finish and get printed before the 24th. Ooh, is that the Christmas postcards? And lots of dog walks, and that's very good for your health. I'm maybe going to finally get a dog in some months. I'm just saying you this, that the possibility finally opens. And when that happens, I'm so going to make streams with the dog and post pictures and everything. Anyway, I don't know if you can see my joy. So we have this leg, and we read some of the directions, which was very fun. We can go on doing this, or we could do something else. I think I'll just do half an hour more of stream, because as I said in the beginning, and I'm telling you for the American people that connected now, this is the last stream of the year, but we're also putting streams on hold because we're working on getting a new and better format for streams. Hi Misha, what kind of doggy? That's, I don't know. We're going to go to the how do you call it? The place where they catch stray dogs, and usually they are mutts. So it's probably going to be a mutt. So I have no idea. I also like mutts because I think they are healthier. So mystery, we'll see. So that was one of the options. Back. Oh no, I forgot what I was saying. What was I saying? Yeah, that this stream is going to last a bit less, and that it's the last of the year. Okay, I already said everything a couple times. I'm getting old. Hi, JoeFish90. What is that? It's a green kitty with a Christmas hat like mine. Nice. Is it a kitty? I'm going to click on it just to make sure. It looks like a kitty, honestly, with glasses. No, it's a dog. Dog holiday? What sort of dog is that? Doog. I'm confused. Maybe it's the name of the kitty. Where did you get that emoticon? Now I'm curious. Why is it green? Alright. So, we could do one more direction for the feet. So that we say, yeah, we got lots of update bindings and now everything is clear as the day. North direction is like that. Northeast is basically the same as the other one. We just have to replace images basically. One more. That's it. The rest is similar to a project that we already did in the past. Just mention that these skins can be active all at the same time. We have here the skins panel. I can change from fire to earth instead. But of course I need to select earth here, otherwise you're not going to see anything. And why did his t-shirt disappear? That's not good. So let's change skin. Yeah, change skin. Okay. Here, set direction as body. And then it's gone. No good. Why? So I'm going to make a copy here and now. I'm going to change skin. That was the old way of doing things. And copy that inside. And then instead of having this color, I'm going to make it greenish. Dark green of some sort. Or more just gray, I don't know. I like this color, so I'm going to copy it and paste it here. And that's yet another example of how you can have white colored assets that you can recolor inside each skin. Basically what I'm doing is recolor the attachments. Yeah, they're missing all their poor t-shirt. Poor guys. Here I'm in white. The aqua body. It's like this and this. And then I change the color to a unique color. Kind of like this blue. And then I make another copy of this. Change skin again to air. Here. Yeah, that's south direction, buddy. I copied the wrong one. South body, here it is. So it's like this, this. Oh, this sleeve is not needed. Let's delete it. Yes. And reactivate the correct sleeve. Fantastic. Here I change this into this gray because I don't know, random things. And there's the fact that his hair has a random color. I could change. He's also wearing a calendar, but we could change that to being a horn instead, a unicorn horn. And some people are like that, you know. And we save. It's one of Brooke Lawson Dodger Press Hard to Continue emotes. Her fox avatar has all kinds of hair colors because over the years she dyed them in all kind of colors. Green just fits the Christmas theme, I guess. Yeah, it's true. It's cute. Thanks for sharing. And thanks for explaining too. I appreciate that. Alright. I like this hair color, honestly. It's very pretty. So, since we already rigged this leg, we could also create some linked meshes, and as said, I prefer to do it in the base version. I'm going to remove all of the skins that I had active at the same time so that I only see what's left in base, in this basic skin. And okay, side direction, right leg, yeah. I'm going to make skin placeholders for this now. Skin placeholders, sreg free, yeah. Duplicate attachment for each skin. That's what I forgot to check when when the t-shirt was missing. When we check this, Spine is going to automatically fill the skin placeholder with a copy for each skin, which we wanted. We really wanted. Okay, so I press OK. Fantastic. Now every skin will have this, and it will be possible to change the color. Now I select this one, new skin placeholder, and yeah, that's just how it's supposed to look, I think. Yeah, everything is fine. They are all going to look broken in setup mode, but worry not, because in animate mode they are still going to look fantastic and perfect. This is because I activated it at some point randomly. Let's remove that key. Yeah, it looks cool again. Fantastic. So we have a confirmation that this works. And we saw this too. I wish I could talk about some of the new things, but that's not the case. So, what was I doing? What could we do some more interesting things. I was creating skin placeholders for this to be able to recolor it under NDA. No, it's because we're still developing it. Oh, here I had stupid things. We're still in development, and I was asked not to divulge these new things that we're doing here in Spine in esoteric software. So, but I can talk about the fact that I'm writing a guide about doing this, and the guide is full, it's very long and full of my tears, because you know for sure that I tested all these things on my skin. Yeah, so I was doing a new skin placeholder, duplicate attachment. Okay, it's a pity that it doesn't work, just skin placeholder, duplicate attachment on everything, and bam. But what can we do? That's fine. All right. Can't wait to discuss that guide with you once it's out. I love this complicated setup. I did it again! This isn't a linked mesh. I need to make it into a linked mesh. Skin placeholder, duplicate. Okay, now it's fine. Now I can finally recolor these legs. So let's do it and appreciate the color. Also, I can change skin and still have them selected, which is cool. Okay, so the earth, I can recolor the pants to be yellow. Yeah, let's leave them yellow. Then I change skin and it's red. And I decide that instead the color is going to be red. Deep red. Then I change skin and this is the horn skin. Horn skin has no color. Water is going to have a nice blue. There. Air. For air, I was looking for something a bit more pinkish. Or this, I like it. Nice. So if we test this in animate mode, I guess I deactivated skin. Oh, where is it? Yeah, this leg didn't get. So it's this one. Okay, this leg didn't get its skin placeholder. So a quick way to redo this is take it out, empty this one, cancel, yes. And then I select this again and say new. But I need to be on the base skin. Yes, I am. New. Oh, come on. It's inside here? Yes. Why isn't it? I have no skin selected, that's the problem. So with the skin selected, I go new, skin placeholder, duplicate attachments, okay, done. And now we can go on. Whew, I have to go, said Lemire. Sorry, I only saw it a minute later. I wish everyone Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you, Eri, for everything you have shared during this year. Cheers. Bye, and thanks for jumping on this last stream. I know it will be a while after we see each other live again, so I appreciate that you took the time to say bye to me live. Poppy says, cheer. Joe Fish. For a sec I thought the editor went open source because the roadmap links to a GitHub repo, but it's only used as public tracker. Yeah, that's the case. I don't know. It's not open source, and I can't say anything anyway, so I won't say anything. Okay, I have to recolor this leg now for each of the skins, and it's so convenient when I can just select them all and change the color. Not too bad. We'll see it flickering color. Happy holidays to you as well, Emir, says Joefish. So nice. Well, alright. I think I showed you some of the tricks that were available in this new version that is soon to become stable of Spine. But as for now, it's beta. Remember that if you want, you can already update Spine to the beta because it's almost stable and all the runtimes are up to date with it. So you can do the transition during these holidays if you want. I hope you had a good time. And yeah, I was hoping to be able to say also hi to Minnie, which usually joins later, but it's also I got to my objective of showing you these features that I really wanted to show, so I'm personally satisfied. Oh, also I forgot that I again have this tree in the middle and nobody said anything about the fact that maybe it's blocking the view. Bad, Erika. I forgot about it. I should have changed the position. I remember to change this and then I forget the other one. So anyway, it's time for goodbye. We got this. Can I make it more festive? Probably yes. I'm going to change the fire symbol to a different symbol so that no, it's green. But I can jokingly I can change this symbol so that it uses, instead of, I can use tint black and change the color of the symbol across all animations like this. Look at that. Look at the power. Now it's going to be green and all of the symbols are going to be green and you can't stop this from happening. So yeah, we get this part in a greenish and then reinforce the green like that. Boom, we can have any color. So powerful. Yeah, have a super Merry Christmas. Have wonderful holidays. Take the best out of this time. Remember, you can contact me and the rest of the team on the forum. We're going to probably have vacations like on the Christmas day too, but we'll try our best to reach out to everyone, and we're working hard for this new release of Spine and to do new exciting things that I hope will be useful for all of you and also for me because I use these resources for making things. So yeah, thanks again and bye, see you in the new year.